Hey guys, TLC and LadyScorpion, and we were so excited to get some questions in the comment section that we had other plans for this video, but as soon as we saw questions in the comment section, we couldn't resist. So Peekaboo for Kids by EYS left a question on there asking if we could show what the shelter house was for that we showed in our camping video for our road trip stuff. And then Elaine Sutton, E6W, she had asked if we could give a demonstration showing the cooking stove and also the cooking set that we used for our dishes and stuff. And so we hope you enjoy. Just so glad to get questions in the comments. We just couldn't resist the urge. So we are going to answer those questions now and hope you'll stick around. All right, thanks. Bye.
Can I be held responsible when the wind calls out my name and I chase it through the reaches of my mind? Over hills and mountains, cross rivers deep and wide, I'll flip every stone that I find.
Hey guys, so the first thing we're going to demonstrate is the camping set for our cookware. It's a pretty neat case. It came with the mesh bag cover, a pretty elaborate carabiner that actually locks. I don't know who's that protective of their cookware, but if you are, this is definitely the set for you. Most things come in a bag that you can never get it back into. We really like that this one pretty much thought of everything. So we have, it's a first set of two. So we have 2 plates, a microfiber dishcloth, which if you're not a fan of microfiber, that's startling when you first grab a hold of it. And then we have the big pot. And these are the built-in handles. There's a little grippy thing on this back section that makes the handles kind of lock together when you're using it. And the frying pan, there's a fiber in it. The lid fits on both of them, so that's convenient. Same thing on this one. Handle comes out. Eggs, pancakes. We haven't used that one. The reason we really wanted it was the little tea kettle here. Big fan of my coffee, and the no normal coffee just needs boiling water, so it came with our little tea kettle. That's the name brand of it. So we're gonna guess THTYBROS. THTYBROS. Anyway, so that's the name of it. Little lid on there with the vent holes and the cap for the tea kettle pour. Inside here we have 2 of the cutest little metal cups. And a natural sponge for cleaning up afterwards if you're somewhere that does have water. And inside here we have silverware. There was a fly in my face. These individual silverware sets. I love nature. I have a spoon with a little lockdown on them, and a fork, and a knife. And, like I said, it's a set of 2. And a stirring utensil. Got to be the cutest little wooden spatula I've ever seen. So there's that. So if we are getting ready to cook dinner. We're going to set up our camping stove. Thank you, LadyScorpion, behind the scenes. Ozark Trail. In other words, Walmart. Tiny little pouch, and they call it a cooking stove. And it's this. And if anyone else is terrified, it also comes with this little leg tripod. Because some of the propane tanks that you get will have a latch that this fits into. If the propane tank has a little base on it that this will fit into, it'll support it really well. However, most of the tanks that you buy now aren't wobbly, aren't sitting on little metal rims, and you can just use them as the base platform. So this is the camping stove. You can see these 4 little legs. You're going to pull them all the way around, and you're going to make sure all of the little feet are pointed to the outside. And then you're going to take your propane tank. They often come in 2 packs or 6 packs. We got a 2-pack, and so we only need 1. It's a propane tank. It's condensed gas. You want to use some caution with it. Don't ever point it at yourself or at anybody else. When you're going to screw your camping stove onto this, just point it away from yourself. I've never had any issues with it whatsoever, but you definitely want to point that away from yourself. You're going to screw it on until it's all the way on tight. This is the valve to open the gas. And this is the automatic ignition. So we have our propane stove ready to go. That's all the space it takes up. We're going to take our tea kettle, and we are going to put...
What are we cooking?
What are we cooking? Now there's a good question. Maybe I should share that with you first. What are we cooking? We are going to try Mountain House chicken fried rice. And super light. Can you see this? Best by August 2055. So, we've got a long shelf life on there. Right on the back it tells you, open it, tear a notch, take out the oxygen absorber. We definitely want to do that. Don't eat that. They have to write that on there. It's hilarious. Anyway, like somebody was like, ooh, that's the good part. Looks a little freaky, but chicken fried rice does contain eggs. So we are going to carefully add 1.5 cups of boiling water to this pouch. So we have 1.5 cups. That's 12 ounces. This is a 16.9 ounce water bottle. And we know from experience that this line here right at the bottom of the wrapper, that's what makes our 12 ounce mark. So that's what we're doing. And we go a little heavy when we're first making the water so that when we boil it, it doesn't boil down below the 1.5 cups that we want. But we don't add a lot of excessive. This is such a small contained unit that when you put the tea kettle on here, you're not going to let it boil for very long. And so the just over 12 ounces, 1.5 cups is what works perfect. So we'll pour that in here. Don't cook with the plastic cap on your tea kettle. We'll put the lid back on there. We cooked in some pretty intense wind. I did set it down on the ground. I didn't leave it on the table when it was really high wind. But this is actually a lot sturdier than it looks. The base of the propane tank is nice and wide, and it's been great. So we're going to place the tea kettle on there. We're going to open this up just a bit, and you can hear it when you're this close. About a half a turn. And you got blue flame going underneath there. I hope you can see it. And we're going to wait about Can you guys see the disbursement coming out of there? It's pretty neat looking. When it starts to boil, it'll make some noise, and we'll get right back with you guys as soon as it starts boiling. Alright, we can start to see some steam coming out of here, and we can definitely hear that it sounds like it's boiling. And so we're going to do a quick check on it. We got bubbles in the bottom. Something we learned from past experience, we want the bubbles to be really bubbling. Alright, again, so we're doing the chicken fried rice. We got the 1.5 cups of water boiling. And we are boiling. So, I just turned that off. Set it away from where I'm going to be working. Hold your lid down. Pour in your 1.5 cups of boiling water and seal it up on the zipper tab. And as soon as you do that, set your timer. So we're going to have LadyScorpion on that.
How long?
And this says 5 minutes.
5?
We're going to wait 5 minutes, and then we're going to open the package, stir, and reseal. So I don't know why I didn't take this notch off all the way. So we are about a minute out from our timer, 45 seconds. And yeah, you just discard this. But I should probably also mention that this is 2 servings, and it's 600 calories, which is really pretty good if you are out and about and you're doing a lot of things. You actually need a nice meal to end out your days, especially if you've been hiking all day. And from what we've found, this really does serve 2. You know how sometimes it'll say serves 2 and it only serves 1 on a really bad day? These are actually really filling servings. So this part here that we're waiting for the timer on is just to stir it. So once, right, there's our timer. And so I'm going to choose the fork that we already have set up. So just going to open it up. And right now it still looks real funky. I'm going to try to show you how funky it looks. Hopefully you can see in there. And now we're going to just break everything up, stir it one more time. It smells really good. Give it a quick stir and reseal it. And then it says to give it another 4 minutes. And so while it's starting on its 4 minutes, we'll go ahead and just rinse off that fork that we just used in half-cooked food. We showed you this in our last video, but this is that dispenser for jugs that makes it easier to clean up stuff. If you're ever doing this out and about where there's in bear country, make sure you don't do what I'm getting ready to do, which is to just rinse something off right next to your campsite. You just pop this onto any jug and put that little seal on there and wish me luck. I'm gonna hopefully get this in here. And so I don't know if you caught that. Just pushing this little thing. Now there are no bears in this area, and so I'm gonna go ahead and just do that. Shh. All right. This thing is really handy, and it just pumps the water out of anything. So we'll touch base with you again in about 3.5 minutes, and we'll see how this food tastes. All right. Thanks. Later. All right. So we've got about 20 seconds left, and once we hear the timer go off, we will be ready to give this a try. Inside we have chicken fried rice with eggs, green peas, onions, and carrots. it's not sloshy anymore, so it seems to be absorbing right, so that's exciting. And there's our timer on it. Smells pretty good. Let me stir this up. Lost my fork. Alright. Now, just off the top of my head, chicken fried rice definitely has eggs in it. Not really that familiar with the eggs being that large in chicken fried rice, but it smells really good. And I'll go ahead and put a little dish out here. And that was tricky. I almost lost everything. We'll see how it tastes. Just a heads up, I can feel the heat radiating off of it, and it's probably gonna burn here in a second. So that's why I didn't eat it directly out of the pouch. I was afraid it's gonna be too hot. First time trying this. It's pretty good. The chicken actually tastes like it's been smoked almost. Not hickory, but a nice smoked flavor to it. It's pretty good. The rice is definitely cooked well.
Smells really good.
I would think this would be a good breakfast option too. The eggs are so big in it, but the eggs were good. It was just surprising, I think, seeing them so big. But yeah, it's pretty darn good. All right, well, hey, up next we're going to show how to put all these dishes away and back into the original kit they came in. Okay, we are not off-grid here. We actually have a sink with soap and water at our camper. So we did cheat and just go and wash everything up and dried it all off. So everything's washed and dried and ready to be put back away. We all know how to do that, so I wasn't going to waste your time with that. All right, so we pulled up the silverware, put it back in the pouch, and this is the putting back together of the kit. So we have our 2 cups, 2 plates. This is the only tricky part to it. You want to start with the world's cutest little spatula. He fits right into the bottom. Silverware tucks up to each side of the inside of the kettle. Once you've done that, the 2 cups, did you see the silverware fall? You might not have from your angle, but I caught it. This tip tucks right in here, and make sure that spatula's off to the side. There we go. Put your tea kettle lid back on. And the order, if we remember, was the frying pan first, then the pot, then the tea kettle, then the lid, and there's a little hat for everything. And then you just set it back into our mesh bag. And quick and easy. Right back in. Lock it down. Now, the only thing that's a little maybe intimidating to some people when you're messing with propane. With propane, you always want to be careful. Make sure it's not still hot. And as long as it's not hot, we've let it cool down the whole time the bag was steaming. So it's been about 15 minutes at least. And it's cooled off completely. Don't ever take this off while that is hot. That's a good call there. So I'm going to unscrew it facing away from me. And I'm going to hold pretty good grip on the actual cook stove part as I face it away from me. It's going to pop. Just that little pop, that's all there is to it. And I like to just keep the cap. I don't know, I guess you could jab very high pressured needle into that accidentally. Anyway, I just keep the cap on it for a precaution. And we fold this all the way back up. and you put it back in your bag. Again, once it's cooled off. And that's all there is to it. You're good to go. All right, we are gonna move over next to, we're gonna set up the shelter and the camper potty just to show you guys how that goes. All right, thanks a lot. Hey guys, so we're ready to set up our shelter and our potty that we use when we're in a location that doesn't have facilities. Another time we use these a lot is, I don't know if you metal detect with a group of boys, but they have an easier time going to the restroom. Group of 5 of us out there, and you're trying to find everybody. You're out on a location, out in the woods, out in a field for 8-9 hours. It's nice to have a camper potty with you, especially if you're out hunting with a bunch of boys. All right, so we're gonna start off with the shelter. First thing we're gonna do is unzip it. We love putting everything back into its original casing. It does come with a fly. We're not going to set that up. We very seldom use that, especially if you're using this shelter for your shower house also. So, we're going to see how this goes. All right, are we ready? So we'll pull out the tent stakes. And the easiest way to do this is to set those tent stakes up all at once. So we'll each grab one. And you're just going to click them together. However they go. And we've got all 4 of them. So then if you're working with somebody, this is going to make it a lot easier. And we're going to set them up. You can take the fly off, it's hooked on that spring there. There we go. There's 4 corners. Each one has a metal hook into it. And so you're going to want to make sure that when you have this set up, you know where those 4 corners are. And it's best to start on a diagonal with each other if you have 2 people. If you're doing it by yourself, same thing, you just start with one at a time. And this particular guy has this cap right here in the center. This cap here, you're going to take your poles and slide them up through the diagonals and pop it into this top here. In the top, you're going to see there's a little spot here that this is going to click into. Click. Alright. And so then I'll do mine on the opposite side. Same thing, we're going to line it up to the opposite cap on here. And click. And perfect, heard the snap. So once you have all 4 legs up, you want to go right to the bottom pins. And take those bottom pins and shove them right up the bottom of the tent stake. Once those are both in the bottom, get the back 2. And that's all there is to it. You don't need to be staked into the ground unless you're in a really windy environment. Go through and click all the clickies, and then you are ready on the inside. Thank you. There's screen in there for drainage if you end up using this for your shower house. We showed you that bag the other day, and it hooks up into the top. There's a hook up here, and that hook up there will hold your shower bag. A lot of these you'll see online, and they are tiny. and we really like the size of this one. And so now we're going to go ahead and grab the camper potty. We built this custom box, and the nice thing about this custom box that held our toilet paper, we built it so that there's a ledge on the top of it. And a lot of these camper potties are very, very shallow, low to the ground. And so we're going to set the box in first, and then we're going to set the camper potty on top of it. And the neat thing about the height of this, it makes it really comfortable to be used. The box protects it from sliding around when you're storing it, but with this box on here, it's the right height, whatever business you're into. It's just perfect. Alright, and so we are going to show you how to fill the vessel at the top for flushing purposes. So we're going to take off that cap and just add a bit of water for demo mode. And after you are complete, you just come over here and you push this button. And that's the bubbly stuff is from the cleaner that we added to it for the sanitizer stuff, the chemical smell. And what you do is you pull this down here, it opens up, dumps everything inside there. Because we just filled the water, it's very foamy, but that is how that works. And when we're done, we zip everything up. So this is what we use if we're off-grid completely. We're not using it here, but in any of the BLM land, any of the areas that we're camping at, this just works out perfect. Alright, thanks. Bye. Thanks for joining us. I hope that was interesting to you guys. Thank you so much for the comments and the questions in the comments. That just made our day. We appreciate every one of you guys hanging out with us and watching us. And we hope if you have any thoughts or comments or questions you have, please feel free to drop them in the comment section. And like or subscribe. And subscribe. I don't know how you're supposed to say it. Anyway, so thanks a lot for joining us. Both works. All right, and we hope you have a good day. And we'll see you on our next adventure. All right, later. Bye.
It calls to me like a mother to her child at supper time. It blooms from every tree in early spring. Can I be held responsible when the wind calls out my name? I don't write the song that nature sings.